I've been doing jiu-jitsu for almost 4 years now, but I'm still a blue belt, which is pretty far from black belt. So to help earn my promotion, I entered a Jiu Jitsu competition I've never been able to win, the Finishers Sub-Only Expert Division. This competition is full of killers, and every time I've entered, I've gotten submitted. But I had a feeling that this time would be different. My first match is against a tough purple belt. I start the match by threatening a butterfly sweep. He posts on me, so I lift him up and lock up a pinch headlock. I extend him out to the side and lift him with my foot to get on top. I bring my knee across to start passing his legs. Notice how I use my head to flatten him out here. He has a tight grip on my ankle, so I threaten a leg lock to get him to open up, so I can pass. He comes up to his knees, so I pull him down and start looking to take his back. And I grab around his neck using a claw grip to make sure he can't get away. I get my hook in and start looking for the choke, but he's able to turn and start getting his back to the mat. Bruh. But I keep putting on that forward pressure to start getting him tired. He's using more energy by pushing me away than I am by coming forward. And eventually, I'm able to hit a hip switch. He starts turning away to escape, so I make sure to control the hips. The hips are where all the power comes from in the lower body, so by controlling them, I'm making it tiring for him to escape. Eventually, I decided I've had enough of all this jiu-jitsu stuff, and just start breakdancing. Unlimited time. After passing his legs, he comes up to his knees, so I put in my hooks for full back control. I pull him back down to the mat. And this time, I'm able to get under the chin and get the tap with a rear naked choke. It was a 4-man bracket, so I was on to the finals. And my last opponent had an unorthodox game. I'd end up in this position with him where I'm almost past his guard, which is usually good, but I saw him tap out his last opponent from here, so I knew I had to be careful. He starts grabbing my arm, but I'm like, this cannot be good. So I start pulling out of it. I try to close the distance, but he connects his knee to his elbow and uses his chin and forearm as a shield. This makes it impossible to smash through, so I had to get creative. I grab an underhook and push his hand across. Then I step over his head to start looking for an armbar. I throw my leg over to enter into it. From here I could do a regular grip break so I can finish with the traditional armbar, but for some reason I decided to be fancy. And I started going for a side triangle. I start getting it tighter. I try grabbing his arm to lock it up, but he's able to come up to his knees and escape. We do a bit of leg spaghetti until I decide to stand up and try passing his legs again. I try pushing his hand across again, but now he's aware of it. This guy had some of the best knee-elbow connection I've ever felt. I didn't want to rush to pass his guard because I knew he had dangerous triangle chokes. So I wait to find my opening. And when I do, I dive my arm in to pass his guard. However, as I try looking for a Kimura, he grabs my leg and starts building up to his knees. He hooks my foot and dives into quarter guard. So to counter, I hit a back step and start looking for a leg lock. I spin his leg looking for a knee bar, but he turns with it. I chase his heel instead. As he turns again, I pull his leg across to the other side. His knee is almost free, so I apply some sideways knee bar pressure to get more control of it. Time was running out, and this would likely be my last chance to get a submission. If I didn't get the finish here, the match would go to overtime, and we would take turns starting on the back until someone got the submission. So far, I felt like I was dominating the match, so I didn't want to let him have the chance to choke me out. I try looking for his Z-lock, but his leg's at the wrong angle. He frees his secondary leg and starts to turn. He was getting close to escaping. I had to go for the finish now. I grab his heel. He starts to spin. I try to control his knees so I can apply the finish, but he's able to rotate out and escape. Since I missed my chance to get the submission, we were going to overtime. I started on his back. This would decide if I'd finally win the Finishers Expert Division, and be one step closer to becoming a Jiu-Jitsu black belt. When it starts, I start looking to lock up a body triangle. The body triangle is hard to break and stops him from turning. Notice how when he bridges to the other side, I switch my body triangle. If it's locked on the bottom side, he'll be able to break it and escape. So I'm trying to avoid that. You know, we get in a rhythm of him bridging from side to side and me just switching my body triangle, until eventually he comes up to his knees and tries shaking me off. However, 2 minutes have passed, so we're on to the next round. Now he starts on my back. As soon as we hit the mat, I quickly turn my hips. Now he has way less control, and I'm able to turn out and shake my hips a bit to escape. Now I was back on the offensive. As soon as we start, I get my body triangle. I was feeling good about this. That is, until he's able to start getting his shoulders to the mat. If I let him keep turning, he's gonna get out. so I placed my head under his and shimmied to regain the chest to back connection. I was doing a good job controlling him, but I needed to get the submission. So I used my choking arm to grab his bottom hand and take my right arm out to look for the choke. This allows me to use my left arm to stop his hand from coming in and defending. I bring my hand to his shoulder and start locking up the choke. However, his chin was inside. This was going to make it harder to finish the submission, and there was a chance I'd gas out my arms, but I had to go for it. I squeezed while applying pressure to both sides of his neck to get the tap with the rear naked choke. I got the submission there, but it wasn't over. He had one last chance to tap me out. If he could tap me faster than I tapped him, he'd win the match. I turn my hips and start the spin. If I can free this elbow, I win. But he starts transitioning to an armbar. But as he throws his leg over for it, I'm able to suck my arm free, winning the match. 2 days after winning that tournament, I ended up getting promoted to purple belt. One step closer to that illustrious black belt. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to subscribe. If you want to level up your guard game, I made a full instructional on butterfly guard and single leg X that you can get in the link down below.